So welcome back to Driveway. It has been a little while since I made a video. We should be running out of videos being posted, so this is going to be right in the nick of time. But it has been, how shall we say, extremely cold out. Probably hit close to -30 here, so I opted to stay out of the garage. That way we leave more propane for other people that might actually need it, and we're not using the big powered electric heater up there in the corner. So that was pretty much about a week's worth of BSing around with that. We managed to probably destroy the transmission in the Camry. It apparently revolted at 180,000 miles against having bigger tires, but that shouldn't have been more stress on it than shoving 4 people in the car. So that transmission was probably on its way out, and it was just a matter of time. But anyways, before we start tackling that, I kind of want outside to thaw down a little more, maybe have a little less snow to drag into the garage here. So we'll wait for that a little bit, and we'll work on some of the pieces for the last of the car hauler project. So today I've got, as you can see, the chop saw out, cut up a bunch of metal so we can build some folding barn doors for the rear of the car hauler out there. And it's going to be super simple, but we'll take a look at that, and then we'll probably look at the Crossfire and see a little bit what we plan to do with that in the near future. So that's where we're going today. Let's just get rolling and see where we end up. Alright, so as you can see, we have everything kind of laid out. We've got the edges mitered, and we do that so you have more strength on your weld, and it helps just kind of make things all around better. Then of course we have the big square that we throw on to make sure we actually get it square. Because most of the time those little magnetic squares are not super accurate to rely on. So you need the bigger square to make sure that it actually is accurate. But that's not a whole lot of messing around there. We can just plug the welder in, zap that corner, hit the other corners, and then come back for some reinforcement. Alright, so now we got that door section fully welded up. I'm kind of sizing up our other bars to get like a diagonal. Apparently, when I ordered them, I only got one in the extra long length. So I'm probably going to have to wing something else up. I think as far as we're concerned, we can come in and just cut these guys. Let's see what we're talking. We're about 5 there. Not quite there, there. So let's Four and a half should be there. Let's see if we're anywhere close to that up here. We're at 4 up here. So hypothetically, 4 1/4. Line up on that corner. And we're at 4 1/4 on that corner. It's not perfectly corner to corner, but this is steel, it doesn't really move too much, so that should do just fine. And then once we skin the door itself, that'll add a little bit of something to it as well. And since it's all steel, we can add more braces to it a little bit later if we so desire. But this should hopefully keep it up and swinging. Alright, so that's one door pretty much done. And I think I just figured out why I created that crossbar the way it is. I wanted to be able to, at the bottom, you can see where this crossbar comes through there. At the bottom, I wanted to be able to put a hinge right there and be able to bolt straight through. So that was the reason why I monkeyed that up. I'm going to have to zap up another door. That's just a touch thinner, probably about a half to quarter inch shorter. Well, it'll be a quarter inch skinnier than this door and half an inch skinnier than I was intending to make this door. Because, you know, with the whole zapping things together, you miss an eighth of an inch here or there. So, one skinnier than this one, that way we can line up the doors properly, put a nice little flange on it to seal up water and stuff. We'll be pretty good to go. Yep, I'm feeling it. So, I think I'm gonna go inside, warm up a little bit, have a nice cup of chocolate or something, and then I'll zip back out here and finish welding this thing up. So even though it's quite a bit warmer than it was, a good 60 degrees warmer, it's still pretty chilly. Alright, so as you can see, on the ground I have laid out kind of how the door will appear on the truck. We've got width going this way, height this way. So I've laid it out. We're 84 inches of door, but the opening on the truck itself is 82 inches. So I've laid out a piece of steel on both sides. It's 1.5 inches wide by 1/8 inch thick. So then by taking inch off each side, so we have 1/2 inch sticking out from the sides of each door, we'll hit that 82 for the inside dimension. And the truck itself has a channel designed for 1/8 inch piece of something. So that's where these 1/8 inch sections will sit. So the hinges I had gotten were these big barrel hinges with plates already welded on them, and then I drilled and tapped them. But as things start coming together here, I'm calling an audible on this, and we're going to have to hack these big sections off and weld it directly to the door and the frame section. There just wasn't enough room to make up for these big boy pieces. So it should work just fine. Zap them straight to the door. Amount of weld strength that you get is pretty insane, and these doors aren't going to be anywhere close to that level. So I'm going to finish hacking off these edges, kind of like I did down here, and we'll weld this first initial top section to the door, and then we'll lay out how that little frame section will work. Alright, so all the pins are all welded up pretty darn solid. So the next step is to get the secondary pins that go onto the vehicle side. Then we'll just be able to attach those directly onto the truck and throw the gates on. So far it's looking pretty good, and this thing's probably going to work quite well. Anyways, I'll start laying those out. All we really have to do is line up where we want the brackets to be, assemble the hinge, zap it where it is, finish welding it up, and we'll be good to go. It's like we'll probably cut out a thicker piece of metal from one of the other pieces of bar stock just in that one spot, because we need it a little bit wider than what the metal will allow. But that should work out halfway decent. So that is at least the plan. I'm gonna lay them out, hook it up, and then hopefully it'll be warm enough outside we can throw those brackets on the truck and kind of see how things line up. All right, so as a whole, our doors are not doing too bad. All right, so we got our doors hung. They're not fully welded in quite yet on the hinges because I'm still tweaking on it. This particular one does touch up there on the roof section, but that's because this edge wall here has been kind of beat in. So when I come down here and fix this corner, that will all be fixed up at the same time. So as a whole, it's looking good. I think I'll be able to come through and just run a piece of something. Thinking maybe even just like a rubber section and just let it flat back here. Nobody's that small to fit up through that hole, so I'm not really going to worry about it. And once we got that hooked up, we'll put our front section, hook it all up, and we'll be set. So most likely off camera I'll probably come in and grind down some of these welds here so I can just throw the plate on there. We'll just put the sheet metal on and let her fly. And one thing I did notice is I believe I put these barrel hinges on wrong. They should probably be flipped so the pin side is attached to here with the pin pointing down and this bucket piece on the bottom going up. That way you'd never lose the big ball bearing in there, and as your grease heats up, it's not just going to drain out like ours will. But that'll pretty much just mean we'll have to grease much more frequently, probably with a really thick grease, and we'll be good enough. I'll also have to come in this little bracket here. We only have the bolts on the edge here. I'm gonna have to put a couple rivets further in so it doesn't flex away, but that should be pretty nice. So anyways, the snow is melting off pretty darn quick. It is super wet out here, so hopefully that means we can get working on some more items here and not get trapped by the whole snow conglomerate. Still got plenty of stuff I have to do for the house, and a lot of that we probably won't even show on here because that's just so much busy work that needs to be done. But all in all, I'd say this is pretty darn good. We've got the TIG welder is already on order, gonna show up here in a couple weeks, and then so will our wing for the Crossfire. So we got more projects to keep us busy for the next couple months, and I've got to fix my computer because somehow it just stopped wanting to work. So that'll be an interesting thing to figure out there. Anyways, I guess I'm gonna put this ramp back up and we'll just call it a day. Looks good to me. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully you're already subscribed, and some videos are boring, some videos are fun. Either way, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again later.